Welcome. This is a brand new podcast. My name is Ritche Perez. Mike
Legge.
Yeah, welcome. We've decided to get together. We're diehard fans of martial arts and 80s ninja movies.
Yes, this all began, and thank you, Ritche, for inviting me onto this. This was like back on Sci-Fi and the Rock. He posted up a picture of him with two swords talking about Sho Kosugi. And right away I knew who the hell Sho Kosugi was, because that's what I grew up watching, all these ninja movies. He was in all these movies, and I said, I wonder how many people actually know who Sho Kosugi is.
Well, not many people now, probably, because he's been out of the film. I haven't seen any recent movies. From the last one I heard of was one called Ninja Assassin in probably like the late 1990s or
early 2000s maybe.
Early 2000s.
You don't see many ninja movies anymore in general.
Yeah.
So I guess if there was anything involved with ninjas, he would probably want to get involved, or someone would track him down to say, give us some ideas on how to be doing this ninja thing, because it's been a long time since ninjas has been on film,
right,
on a regular basis.
Well, if you were a kid like us from the early 80s or so, the amount of ninja movies that came out in that era, and it was, and like many people think when it's ninjas, it's just martial arts, but ninjas back in the day in the 80s was like dressed up in dark. Do you know the definition of a ninja by any chance? Like from just watching all the, they're Japanese assassins that came about, right?
And if somebody, say from America, needed a ninja, they would always hire them to take care of business that they need to take care of. Mm-hmm. And ninjas they don't care what they got to do. They'll just kill everybody that needs to be killed in these movies.
Right, and Sho Kosugi was a significant. He was an actor that portrayed ninjutsu and ninjas in movies. That's who I remember. Is when you think of all the like Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3 Domination, and Pray for Death. Like he's in a lot of these early 80s movies, either playing the bad guy or the good guy.
Yeah, I've only seen him once as a bad guy, and that's like Enter the Ninja was the first one, and he was a bad guy. Not so much as a bad guy. He felt betrayed by his master, because it was him and an American ninja in this movie, and the American ninja wins the battle at the beginning of the movie, and the master said, yeah, he is a ninja, and he didn't believe it. He didn't want to accept that he was a ninja, and he felt betrayed by his master, and then it kind of goes away from that, and then the story goes towards the American leaving and then trying to do his own thing, and then eventually Sho Kosugi's character shows up at the end. He gets hired by an American who wants to take over this country, and Sho Kosugi is hired by him, and he's the bad guy, and eventually has to face the white ninja, who is also dressed as a white ninja at the end of the movie, and dies at the end.
Right.
So other than that, every other movie that he's been in, he was the good guy.
What was the first ninja movie you watched as a kid?
It's either Enter the Ninja or Revenge of the Ninja.
I think that was mine too. I think those were like one of the only two videos that you were able to rent out at J.W. Allen as like a VHS or a beta when you're renting them downtown, because a while back there was no such thing as like Netflix or anything. You'd have to actually go out your door, go down to the store downtown, and go to this room about the size of like a 30 by 30 room filled with shelves of videos, and then eventually Blockbuster and Jumbo, you would have like the action series, and then you'd see like the ninja movies. Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja was the second one, and then later there was a Ninja 3 to Domination.
Yes, and those are the three core ones that I remember, and American Ninja as well.
Yes,
which is the military type ninja.
Yeah.
He don't know where he came from. He had amnesia, and his master. He only remembered that he can fight, and he remembered his time with his master, and then. But other than that, he don't know who he is or where he came from.
There was a few American ninjas.
I believe there was like
series.
five.
Five, yeah.
I watched the first. I think I might have watched them all, but I know I watched the first one and two a few extra times. but I don't remember any of the other ones.
Was it always the same character? Was his name
Michael Dudikoff.
Oh, but yes,
think
yeah,
that's how you say it.
Okay.
I ruined his name, but it's him. I know he's in the first two for sure.
Yeah.
But I think after that, there's another guy who kind of takes his place, and I don't even think he's so much as a ninja. I think he can just he's a martial artist,
right?
And I don't think he did a whole lot after that.
Yeah.
But I remember American Ninja was one I have at home as well.
Right.
My Ninja collection. So, yeah, I do have a collection of ninja movies.
Oh, that's
at home.
great. Yeah.
I have them all, like all the main ones. And there's a couple that Ritche told me about, which was Rage of Honor.
Yeah.
And I had to rewatch Pray for Death. And a long time since I've seen that one, but that was a brutal movie as well.
That one was one of my favorites, actually, because they put the twist of and Sho Kosugi was in it as well, and he's actually the hero in the movie this time. Not only he was a ninja, but like if whoever's listening now, like we're gonna be we'll be doing spoilers and stuff. So he had a special ninja suit that he had that was metal, and the cover of the mouth opened up, and he had a ninja star on his helmet there. So it was like that auxiliary, just in case he needed that last weapon, he'd pull it out of his head and whiz it. It was like a futuristic looking ninja.
Yeah, and I was telling Ritche, like, when I first seen the Mask, and it was the first time in a long time since I've seen this movie, so I couldn't remember. And the first thing that triggered me was he kind of reminded me of the Shredder in the Ninja Turtle movies, at least the front of it anyway. And because he was able to take it off and you can just see the face. So a lot like the Shredders was. And this movie came out before Ninja Turtles, so I don't know if they could have taken it from that movie, or definitely ideas from these movies.
I'm sure a lot of the movies that we've watched in probably the 90s now, and like movies that are happening now, were all influenced by all these cheesy 80s martial arts movies. Like there's other ones that we were talking about, like Jim Kata, The Octagon, with like a lot of Chuck Norris. So he never portrayed as a ninja, but he was a badass, kick-ass guy that would fight ninjas in the Octagon,
he did know how to use a sword. He was able to fight a ninja with a sword.
That's right.
So he knew how to act as a ninja.
Yeah.
He just never dressed up as a ninja.
I think that's the only movie that I've ever seen him using a ninja sword or a samurai sword. Or was it a samurai or ninja sword?
I think he got it from one of the ninjas. So
yes, okay, yeah.
It's because he fights a bunch of ninjas, and then he got to fight a ninja before the main bad guy, which was a pretty great scene. And like I said, like, he was using the sword just as good as any of the ninjas. So, but other than that, he usually uses his fists for movies. And
his kicks. He was known for his karate. I actually started watching the movie Breaker today.
No mustache in that one.
I know, it's so weird.
1977.
And he did a lot of fair acting, like emotional acting, because like in the movie, he's like, he sees his brother and he's like, hey, hugging him and rolling in the dirt with him and all that stuff. Usually in most Chuck Norris movies, he's like the badass stoic guy that's just like he no emotion. He's just a fighter, and he'll just kick ass. But the first time I've ever seen Chuck Norris, I saw him on Return of the Dragon. One of his main movies. Chuck Norris appeared as the main boss.
He's like the enforcer.
Yeah,
he was the enforcer for the main bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, like, I don't think anybody really knew who Chuck Norris was.
No,
and like most movies, the bad guy always gets a couple of good shots in before he gets beat up by the good guy, and that's how it was for Chuck Norris. And for me, see, I watched the Chuck Norris movies, his good guy movies, before I seen this one with Bruce Lee. So it was very strange for me to see him be a bad guy and lose in another movie.
Yeah.
Granted, it is Bruce Lee, so there's not many people out there that's gonna take on Bruce Lee and win.
Right.
So I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
But like, I remember watching Chuck Norris. Breaker was 1977, and I seen like all of his other ones, like Eye for an Eye, Octagon. Force Vengeance, my favorite.
I have to watch Silent Rage again.
Silent Rage is up there too.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one.
See that.
I think Silent Rage and Breaker is one of my favorites, and is, like I said, one of his first ones. His main good guy roles, Force Vengeance and Silent Rage.
Okay.
Silent Rage is another one. Nothing to do with ninjas, but a bad guy who you just cannot kill.
Yeah, with martial arts. And,
yes, he had to use all his fighting skills, and at the end of it, he still had to throw him down a well. And at the end of the movie, he still pops up. So, and you don't know what happens next. It kind of ends that way.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's Chuck Norris is a big part of my growing up in movies and watching and ninja movies. Like I say, my dad introduced me to all these movies, and it just stayed grooved into my brain. And so when I started talking to Ritchie about all these movies, he knew as much as I did.
You're like, you know ninja stuff too.
And I said, I told him all it took was one picture of him having swords in his hand. But it's nice to be, and I'm sure there's got to be people out there that wants to hear about this stuff and even talk about it. So yeah, it's a really good topic, and I can talk about this for days and days.
Did you know that I was so fascinated and obsessed with ninjas that I used to collect Asian World of Martial Arts magazines that I used to be able to buy at the mall. Every month they'd come out, and I used to get them because there were pictures of people dressed up with in ninja suits, and like you see advertisements, you can buy the swords or order the nunchucks, and there'd be ads with Chuck Norris in there with endorsing kicking jeans where they're like reinforced so you can kick them and your crotches don't rip apart. But I asked my mom to actually order me a ninja suit. And this was probably mid-'80s, I guess. And I got one. I ordered a camouflage ninja suit. It came with the jacket. It was camouflage jacket. It looked like a gi for fighting. And it came with the socks with the one toe. Because if you watch ninja movies, they have their toes are like, it's like a boot, but there's always like that toe.
It's almost like two toes.
Yeah.
It's like you only have two toes, basically.
Yeah, like four on one and then a split with the one big toe.
Exactly.
And I had what they called the gauntlets that cover your arms, and it came with a ninja boken, and ninja bokens are wooden practice ninja swords. It was hard too. It was mahogany. Like you can actually hit someone and kill them with it because it was a real ninja boken for striking people. Rubber nunchucks came with it, and one more thing too. I think it came with rubber shurikens as well. I wore the pants and a jacket every day. I remember when it came in in the package. I faked sick so I could stay home, and we were latchkey kids, so the parents would go off to work, and I'd stay home and dress up and play ninja in my house.
And of course, like a lot of people, I'm sure, plastic nunchucks wasn't good enough. It had to be the real wooden ones.
Oh, yes.
You'd make them yourself,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're swinging around and hit yourself in the head or something,
yeah.
Or hit somebody else.
Yeah. So I remember with nunchucks, making homemade nunchucks, you'd find a chain that's probably like only 3 links or 4 links on it, and you'd nail them or screw them into cut broom handles. That's how I used to make.
Oh yeah, definitely. It wasn't hard to find an old broom handle around somebody's house. So and then you get to saw out and cut it, and then make your nunchuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And another little memory too was we used to take the Pepsi cans and the Coke cans, whatever soda can you have. You'd get a pair of tinfoil cutters, and you'd draw a star at the bottom of the can, and you cut them out, and they actually will stick into the side in a wood if you had them cut out right, that they would fly into the wood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're out in the woods playing with your friend, you try to throw it at one of your friends. Try it. That's what we did when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have iPods and computers like we do now.
We had shurikens and
we were playing guns. Yeah, we were playing ninjas and guns and stuff. That's what we did every evening.
Yeah, in the back of the woods, I guess. Or
our parents didn't know where to. They just knew we were in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
It was a different life back then, sure, and the generation itself.
Yeah.
Like we spent a lot of our time making up our own stuff to do. Mm-hmm. Playing ninjas, playing guns.
Imagination.
Yeah, lots of imagination back then. Yeah. And I guess it kind of goes into what we're talking about now. Like, I grew up watching these ninja movies, and you try to do that outside your house. Mm-hmm. And You know what I mean? Like there was no Netflix and there was no.
Well, there was no video games. Like right now, I guess you challenge your imagination through 3D games or games like
Fortnite and Roblox
and like Assassin's Creed. Like you're putting yourself in those characters and playing those characters and getting absorbed through that way. But we didn't have that. We had like pixelated Atari games and like it wasn't as a good simulation as what I guess what people are getting into with games now are so like so simulated now. But so we had to leave it for ourselves to make the imagination to like dress up and go out into the woods and or go out and play and have our nunchucks and swords and hit each other.
Oh yeah, and we'd be doing it for hours. You know what I mean? Like every day after school would be gone for the rest of the night until it was dark.
Yeah,
and we wouldn't even have supper. Parents would be calling out to you. Yeah. We weren't far, but we had like woods all around us growing up, and we were able to go in there, and that's what we did. Yeah. Just play ninjas all night, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, that's when I said, like, my dad introduced me to all these here movies, and I always remember these movies. And I was telling Ritche that stuff that you see now, or you don't see now in ninja movies, what we seen was kids getting killed in these movies. Yeah. You just don't see that in movies and TVs now. Yeah. You just wouldn't see it.
Yeah. Revenge of the Ninja and not so much was it
Pray for this? They tried running his kid over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the wife.
Yeah.
And see, they tried to kill his wife and kid on the road. He ran him over. Yeah. And luckily they survived. They eventually kills his wife in the hospital, but the kid survives. But in Revenge of the Ninja, in the first part of the movie, the first scene, one of the kids gets killed by a star. Yeah. So like and that always stayed in my memory and I was kind of afraid because you don't see kids getting killed in a movie. Yeah. So that meant they didn't care about who they killed. Yeah. There was no conscience there.
It's almost like in the movies they try to build up like the intensity of in it so that us as viewers we're like, oh, I can't wait till that bad guy gets what he deserves or what they deserve because they killed the kids or the children in the movies and stuff. Would it be the director who did the ninja movies? He was a little kind of out of it with creating Hollywood movies of and he didn't understand about like the etiquette in this kind of field, I guess, with like he was like they were just kind of blunt scenes in there that like kids getting killed by
there seemed like there was no limits.
No limits, yeah.
Right? He was an American. I think he was like maybe Italian or from another country for sure. Yeah. Trying to make an American movie for Americans. Yeah. But in his style. Yeah. Which, was completely different. Like what you're saying, like you watch a movie now and if kids were kidnapped or involved, they always survive. They always get saved at the end of the movie. Yeah. You'll never see him like shooting them and that's it. And that's the revenge. Yeah. You just won't see that in a movie these days. Yeah. And that would be shocking to see. Yeah. But yeah, when I seen that, and I remembered, first thing I was thinking, like ninjas just don't care. Yeah. If they have a task to do, they'll do it, no matter what they got to do.
Yeah. And so, some of the scenes in there also was satisfying for me because as I grew up in Canada, in Newfoundland here, I went through a lot of racism and in some of these scenes in the movies, like Sho Kosugi, his character brings his children over to America. They have martial arts backgrounds because they were taught by their ninja dad. And there's some scenes in the movies that I remember because like I wish that was me, and I'd be like because like the kids would get picked on at school by bullies, much bigger than them, but they were like little tiny Asian kids that knew martial arts, and so they'd fight back and do these kicks and punches and flips and stuff. Yeah. And I was kind of like fantasized about that for myself of like whenever I got picked on here because it was pretty much like that in those dark days.
And for the most part, his one of his kids in these movies, in Revenge of the Ninja, is his actual son in real life. Yeah. Ken Kazuki. Yeah. And he can really fight. Mm-hmm. And again, like Ritche was saying, like it is, you see this in a lot of these movies where not only the kids, but even just the family itself move from China or Japan and get picked on when they move over to the U.S. Like I said, not just the kids, but like the adults, they just weren't accepting them.
The struggle of coming to America and like trying to live their lives there. That, a lot of the movies, Pray for Death and Revenge of the Ninja had that kind of an underlying thing of trying to be accepted in America at the time, and I'm sure that's like real life stuff there that happened to many immigrants that would move in. There is some sense of validness or like reality to it, as much as like ninjas, martial arts and fighting and all that stuff.
Yeah, you put aside all the fighting and there's killing and that kind of stuff, but it still has a valid storyline.
Yeah,
because they came to America to get away from the violence over in Japan, come to America, and then they got to deal with it over there. His best friend is a ninja, because he spent a lot of time in Japan as well, and became a ninja over there. And so it becomes like he has art gallery, and his best friend, the American, all this.
Was it like
dolls?
Smuggling?
Smuggling cocaine inside of the dolls, and Sho Kosugi's son Kane drops one and breaks one, and it comes out. It comes out of the doll, and so that's when it kind of all comes out, and so and that's all it comes to be, all about drugs. A storyline about drugs and trying to be American, like from Sho Kosugi's side of it. Come to America. Try to do better for herself, and then he gets into the cocaine, which unknowingly. Right. So, which you see in a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies about drugs now, and that never went away. So they just had a little bit of everything in this movie. Yeah. And like when I was young too, I never really, when I first seen the doll break, and I couldn't figure what was in that doll because I was young. Oh yeah. I never put it together that it was cocaine.
Now that you say that, like I didn't know what cocaine was. No. Maybe I was confused when I first saw that, or maybe it was just like baking soda or soap
or something that makes it like the porcelain stay like porcelain for the dolls.
Oh yeah.
I maybe I was maybe 7 or 8 or something when I seen this movie. Yeah. So I was like, what the hell just came out of this doll? And then it was the fight afterwards. So it had something to do with this, but I didn't know what it was. Yeah. So and of course it ended up being drugs. Yeah. But again, like a lot of movies that you see now revolves around drugs. Yeah. So that storyline never did go away either. Yeah. So it was like a little bit of everything in this movie. And like I said, I was really young when I first watched this movie, but it's like I could not watch it for the next 10 years and know exactly what happened in this movie. Yeah. And I just know a bit more because I'm older. Right. The cocaine itself was one thing I didn't know then, which I know now. Yeah. It is
pretty neat to kind of relive it by watching it again, because I haven't watched these since like for 20 years ago or so, and just to watch it now and just think of how I watched it when I was a kid. It's like a different perspective. Like you see it now and think that it's cheesy, but I can't imagine what it was when we were watching it in that moment when it was first released. It was like everything, like it was just so untouchable. Because you didn't think it was that's cheap, because we're comparing it to what's out now, I guess. But it was like the best movies I've ever watched as a kid. It was the ninja movies, were like the flipping around. And
like if you think back now, I completely remember all these movies. Mm-hmm. Like I know, and there's movies since then that I might have watched a few times even. Mm-hmm. I don't remember half the movie. Yeah, just that kind of stuff sticks in your brain. Yeah, the same goes back with Chuck Norris. I can remember all these Chuck Norris stuff, all the movies, the outline, what happened, all this kind of stuff. Like I said, a lot of it too. I was young then. I didn't really understand a lot of the plot, why people was killing themselves over whatever was going on in the movie. But I enjoyed the movies. Yeah. It was a pretty easy storyline to go by and be entertained by it. Yeah. And the Ninja 3 movie as well kind of has a ninja theme and exorcist theme together. So different concept. Yeah, they were trying to make it a little bit different. Yeah. And a lot of good fight scenes, good choreography.
And a woman portraying as a evil ninja?
She was, she was a bad ninja. She was getting back for the ninja who possessed her. Yeah, right. Who killed him. Yeah. So she had to kill all the people that killed the ninja who possessed her.
Yeah.
She tried to get out of it and not kill him, but he took over.
Right.
And then she knew how to fight because his soul went into her. All that he knew, she knew how to fight, how to show the stars, how to use a sword. So yeah, that's kind of, it was kind of like a ninja movie / exorcist movie.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, a big time background actor who was just in this movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. His name is James Hung. He's actually in this movie.
Oh yes.
In Ninja 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the one who was supposed to try to get the demon out of her.
So you're referring to the guy that was in Big Trouble in Little China as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He was in like
and
hundreds of movies.
Yeah.
But this movie, Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, just won the Oscar.
Yeah.
He was in. He's like 94 years old.
Right.
And he is in this movie Ninja 3.
Oh, okay.
And he was one who was supposed to get the devil out of the woman who was possessed, and he couldn't help her.
Yeah.
But like even back then, he was in these movies, and even then he looked old. he looked what he looks like now. But you know what I mean? Because I always say, like, when I'm younger and where I'm older now, people still look like they do then to me. Because you got no concept of age when you're younger.
Yeah.
So when you're looking, for instance, like one of my teachers, like she's like 70 now. I'm gonna hate to say that, but she looks exactly what I remember when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like she don't age any at all, but she's getting older, but she doesn't look any different.
Yeah.
And that's how James Hong looks like.
Yeah.
He just got. He's been around so long, and he's active.
Right. What do you know of what Sho Kosugi's doing now these days?
I looked up on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's basically he's doing YouTube videos of how to be a ninja, how to train as a ninja.
Oh yeah.
But he looks really different.
Yeah.
If somebody was to show me a picture of him now, I wouldn't even recognize him. I wouldn't even think it was the same person.
Yeah.
But he's still active. He's still you can go on and Google search him on YouTube. He's in this taekwondo area, and he's still doing like different moves and showing people how to do that. So he's still active.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like, you know, like a lot of people just don't want to retire and sit down and do nothing all day. So he's just an active, but not active in regards of movies.
Right.
So
I was on YouTube this morning, and something popped up that Keanu Reeves studied ninjutsu. There was some interview with the ninjutsu, the ninja that has taught him ninjutsu. It could be, I don't know. It could be something just far out there, but that's what I stumbled on. But I'm thinking that could be close to wrapping up. And like if when you think about it. Like, without these movies, I'm just looking back now, we wouldn't have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We wouldn't have Storm Shadow, like the G.I. Joe movies. Yeah. There's a G.I. Joe movie now that's based solely on Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes was a ninja, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was based on a ninja. Batman was based on his teachers were ninjas.
Ra's al Ghul, yep.
Yeah.
And how to disappear, how to use your fighting skills. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was exactly a lot of those. Yeah. What ninjas had. That's their skills.
Yeah, and a lot of the anime characters that you're seeing to have ninja skills and ninja backgrounds, but it's surprisingly like a lot of the characters that you see out there are not the typical looking ones that we the black clothed or the camo or the green or the purple, even in the Mortal Kombat series, like the video game characters, you don't see like just a regular ninja. Like there's always there's always a flair to
like Sub-Zero.
Like Sub-Zero,
like, he's blue and he has you don't use a sword, he uses the ice.
Yeah, and Scorpion.
He's rope and just add a touch to it. Yeah, but no swords.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But no, I think and I find it strange that now in this day and age with the CGI and all the graphics that they can make. They haven't made a new ninja movie, which they probably needs to make.
Yeah.
Like I'd be there for sure.
Oh, for sure. For me too. Like just like a a straightforward, either like a black or white ninja. We're talking about like the clothing, like, and just like with the original discipline of what and who they are, opposed to being like so supernatural or magical, like what that you see a lot of these other movies are doing to ninjas. Like I'd like to see one like the way Sho Kosugi was when he came out, just a shit kicker with a sword and stars and stuff. And
so I always enjoyed watching him catch a sword with his mouth. Like, you know, one hand, two hands in his mouth.
Oh, I like that. My favorite ones is when a sword comes towards his face and he catches it with his two hands. And the choreography, like even the guys trying to thrust the sword towards his face, he would go like you know, he would go left. He would dodge it. He would dodge the sword with it when they would thrust it towards him. But that those were the good old days, the good old ninja days.
And like I said, back in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, they didn't have the CGI. They didn't have all that, you know.
Yeah.
They just had to know how to fight and use the right choreography. And it was a lot of time and effort, I'm sure. So nobody had a cut off arm or for real, you know, in these movies. So, they had to be skilled for sure.
Totally. Like you would actually need to know martial arts. Because I feel like most of the movies these days, people are just trained into doing the choreography. There's well-known actors that are trained into doing the moves and stuff, whereas the movies that we've watched, they actually had new martial arts, I guess, like Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. They were like people that were doing martial arts before they got into acting, I guess.
Oh yeah, they were trained. Chuck Norris was trained by Bruce Lee. And a lot of people were trained by Bruce Lee.
Was Jean-Claude Van Damme? Was he like a kickboxer before he became an actor? Or?
I believe he can. Yeah, I think he definitely knew how to fight before.
Okay.
And same as Steven Seagal as well. They had their own type of fighting. And they just had to use it in these movies. Because you can tell a lot of his movies were a lot of the same type moves.
Style,
And again, like you go back to Kickboxer, for instance. He's taken on Tung Po in the movie. They're all using the same type fighting skills. You know, Thailand. They're all in the same area of being able to fight. And ninja styles just up there. That kind of fighting. You know, and so hopefully, like I say, I wish like they can start making some ninja movies, just to try it out, because you never know. There's a big fan base. I know it can't be just me and you who likes these movies.
Oh yeah.
So and just to have a tryout and see where we'd go. How far it would go from there.
Okay.
It would always nice to see a nice ninja movie.
Oh, totally. We can like have a ninja night with like the whole day of 5 movies, or, you know, those movie nights when you invite a bunch of people and we all watch it, and just have a good time talking about it. So that wraps up, I guess. It was a good talk. Most of our talk today, or this first episode, is just the generalizing of what could come with our next episodes, I guess.
Yes.
And who knows, maybe we could talk about like Ninja 3 domination, or like just focus on one or two movies and talk about them. I'd love to talk about that one-hit wonder guy, Jim Cotta, because like, I haven't seen any other movie like that, a gymnast that became a martial artist.
To play this game and win it, you know, and there's like, you know, Richard Norton's in it, and he's in all these movies with Chuck Norris too. So, and he was the main bad guy. But yeah, that's a movie that was stuck in my brain as well. So I watched this many times when I was a kid, and very low budget movie, but like now it's got a little bit of a cult following now.
Does that really?
Oh yeah. Okay. So and especially he died a couple years ago. So now people starting to rewatch that movie and getting a bit popular now, right?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely, and suggestions as well. Whoever wants to hear a movie that they grew up watching,
feel free.
Yes.
And we'd love to have guests too to talk. Any expert experts out there too. That
any ninjas online listening?
I should reach out to Sho Kosugi and see if he'd be interested in.
I'm sure you would, because you know, I mean, like, he'd appreciate someone who enjoyed his movies as much as we did. And just talk about it.
That would be amazing.
I'm gonna have to try on YouTube and get a hold of this guy.
Yeah, you
subscribe first, and you make a comment and just tell him what we're doing, and then maybe you never know.
Yeah. Anyway, Mike, that was great. I'm Ritchie and
Mike Legge,
and thanks for listening to this pod. We don't have a name yet, but who knows? Maybe it's like Ninja Action or something, or I don't know. Talking about 80s action movies that we grew up with, so that they don't get forgotten for all you new people out there. So take care, everyone.